Vinny, all my love from South Philly. Mwah. Peace out, pal.
Vinny from South Philly.
You're watching Vinny from South Philly.
All right, welcome everyone to another episode of Vinny Presents. And today it is my pleasure to have a returning guest. She's a filmmaker, acting coach, wonderful, coming off the heels of this project that I've been watching, The Italians. Welcome back to the show, Michelle Danner. Michelle, how are you?
Hi, how are you? Thank you for having me again.
It is my pleasure, as I said, and I couldn't wait to talk to you. You have a lot going on, as you always do. You're always keeping busy, which I love. But tell us everything, Michelle.
Well, The Italians is being released. It's exclusively on Amazon Prime right now until for a few more months, and then it'll go on other platforms such as, Vudu, Apple Play, Google Play, Apple, and others. And, it's a movie that I made with an extraordinary cast that I'm very proud of because at the end of the movie, spoiler alert, it says, "For my mother, Loredana," which is what drew me to making this movie. Lisa Phillips Visca wrote this beautiful play. It had so much heart in it about an Italian American family that meets their son's girlfriend for the first time. Girlfriend played by Abigail Breslin, the son played by Matthew Daddario. And my husband on screen, Rob Estes, is somebody that I've made many projects with in the past. And we had a great time shooting it. And then Lainey Kazan, the extraordinary Lainey Kazan, came to play my mother. Olivia Lucardi played the ex-girlfriend. Perry Reeves played my best friend. David DeLuise played my brother. So, I was surrounded by these wonderful actors, and we all played in a joyful way. And it shows people are really responding to the movie. They're liking the movie. They're watching the movie. I'm able to see the response, which is great. And yeah, this was a movie that was made with love and with care, and it's a fun movie. And people say it makes them hungry, it makes them want to eat some great food. Um, so I am happy that I did it, and I'm in pre-production right now for another movie, which is a comedy, another romantic comedy with a unique angle on astrology. I was just at the Cannes Film Festival, and normally when I go, you're always taking meetings. It's all about, present projects, future projects, projects in your library. But this time I was able to catch 4 movies, 3 of them in competition. And oh, they were wonderful movies, very intense movies. I wasn't ready for that. Every movie was like a punch in the gut. It reflected the anxiety that artists are feeling all over the world in terms of what's happening in our world. Um, and the word is out that people want to see comedies. People need to see comedy. I do. And so, therefore, I'm also going to work on a sci-fi thriller, Helios, which is about potentially the end of the world. So it's going to be one of those, on the edge of your seat, make you feel like, oh, we got to do something, but entertaining. But I really think we need to make comedies, see comedies, and that's what I'm doing.
I couldn't agree more. Actually, we have a project we're in pre-production for hopefully we begin filming in August, a comedy. And I agree, we need more laughter, we need more romance, we need all these beautiful things that make our lives complete.
I mean, we actually screened, I didn't mention this, but we screened another movie that I directed in Italy called Under the Stars with Andy Garcia and Tony Collette. It screened at the market, and that was fun to go see it on the big screen. And it's a movie I'm really proud of, and I'm doing the post-production on it, so we're finishing it. But congratulations on your project.
Thank you. Well, for those that have never been or may never be there or want to be there, can you tell the guests a little bit about how it is to just be in that environment at Cannes?
You know, it's hard to say what people said it's was busier than the last few years because it's the aftermath of COVID. So I guess like the year after COVID, it was slow. Other people said it was still slow. It was 30% down from what it normally is. I remember I got there a few days earlier because of the jet lag. And I was walking down La Croisette, which is the main street that gives you to the Palais where the market is. But also people spread out in Cannes. So they're at the Montreal Hotel. They have offices there. They are somewhere else. They're in different places. They're in yachts. People are on yachts. So you take meetings there. But there's an energy. Everybody, I loved it. First of all, the people in the south of France are really nice. French people. So that was really, it felt welcoming. I think they're happy to have the festival there. They're happy to have the business. So let's start with that. And then people are coming from different parts of the world. They're buyers, they're artists, all kinds of different, all different fields. So it's great energy. There's premieres. I loved it. I really had a fantastic time there. And then there's the ocean. So it was sunny. They had said at the beginning it was going to rain the whole entire week. So I was like, oh, I love the ocean. I was going to swim in the ocean. And then it turned out that it didn't rain. It was sunny and it was hot and it was beautiful. So a couple of times we went to the beach and had lunch on the beach and swam in the ocean. It was, I have no words for this. We stayed, instead of staying like where all the, energy is, which would be great. Maybe next time we will. We stayed in a villa 10 minutes from the main street. And it was really interesting because after all of that, all these meetings and everything, you went to a quiet place afterwards. I did like that.
That's a really good idea, actually, because everybody's typically when they book a flight to go there, they'll stay at the most convenient hotel, or whatever. But to be at a villa, be out of the way, and kind of absorb a little bit of the landscape, that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I really liked it. I mean, I remembered it last time I went to be like a little crazy, like a little circus, like it was, so this time it was a little bit more grounded, but nevertheless still intense. It was intense.
And I hope you made some contacts along the way. I'm sure you did. Made some great networking opportunity. Anyway.
Well, we were trying to figure it out, right? So we were trying to figure out because a lot of the meetings we had were existing relationships. So we're trying to figure, do we have to do this? And we went through Zurich, and what can we just meet? Outside of Cannes, we don't have to go to Cannes to meet with the people that we already know. But then we ended up meeting new people, new meetings, and running into people that we hadn't seen in a while, and go, come, let's have a coffee and catch up. So it was a mix of everything. It was great.
Now, how would you compare that to, say, the West Coast and some of the different major award and film festivals and different gatherings?
Well, I think you have to compare. Well, the film festival, Cannes Film Festival, you can compare it to Sundance. So, it's different because one is sunny and the other one is cold. You're freezing. So when you're staying online in Cannes to see a movie, it's different than if you're online at Sundance to see a movie. But the market, there's no market at Sundance. So you have to compare the market, you have to compare it to AFM, to the American film market. And the American film market is a little bit more concise in one place. In Cannes, it's spread out. So, you have to have appointments and you have to work on it ahead of time.
And as we all know, things are changing. They're changing rapidly in the film industry. And so you have to stay on top of things. You have to stay on the pulse of things. And unfortunately, you may be only as good as your last project, but it's, this is how it is. And that we know this. But going back to the Italians now, tell us a little bit more about that, the direction where you're going with that, and then your new project.
Yes. Well, the Italians, it's going to continue to be something that I'm just going to want everybody to see. And when we did the festival circuit and we had the premieres, it was great to see it live with an audience that responded to the movie. It was a roller coaster of laughter. People found it really funny, which I loved. And then they found it touching, which I loved. It's something I wanted to make it exactly the way that I made it. And I wanted to say something about family, about love and family, even though they're crazy and dysfunctional. If there is love that carries you through, forgiveness, because life is too short to hold grudges. So it's about all of that. And then, of course, there's a twist that people don't expect in the movie, which is great. And it's about really knowing in your heart that the people that you love, they never leave you. They're always with you. And that is very much what I wanted to say in this movie. So I want as many people to see it as possible. That is the reason why I started to make movies, because you play to the biggest classroom, that you possibly can. And so you try and get viewership, you try and get people to drive people to watch it. Today, in this day and age, with all the content that we have, what makes somebody click on your movie and watch it? So you have to drive audience to it, and that's what we're doing. We've learned a lot. We did 20 little skits with the characters improvising and doing different things with Rob Estes, with Matthew Daddario, with myself. We went a whole entire day back to the kitchen of the house that we shot in, which was so great. The owner of the house was so gracious. She let us have the house for free. Can you imagine? We went to shoot at her house for 12 days. And of course, we tried to take care of things as much as possible. But, when you let a film crew come in and shoot, it is what it is. And she was just so gracious and let us come back and use the kitchen and use the house. So that was great. The shoot could have not gone better. When I do interviews and people ask me, what were the challenges? If every movie that I do would be as easy as The Italians, I mean, it was just from beginning to end, it was a joy to do it. Now, as I'm sitting here talking to you, I'm feeling butterflies in my stomach because I'm in pre-production for another movie, Starstruck, a romantic comedy with Matthew Daddario also and some other wonderful actors that are joining us. And it's vulnerable to make a movie. So you have to, I always say it's not for the faint of heart. You have to have some thick skin and you have to be able to juggle and really stay in the moment and inspire people to give the best. I think that that's a key thing. I've always known that, but I've never known it as clearly as I know it today. That all the team, the artistic team that is around you, you really have to inspire them to give the best that they can.
You said it was somewhat, let's say, you used the word easy, which nothing's ever easy in films, but it sounds like a great chemistry there for the Italians. It's probably, and then that's what it is. You're working with people that some of these people you've worked with before, and you form that chemistry, and now you will be working with again. It sounds like with Starstruck, and that's an important thing. You also use the word vulnerable, which is a very appropriate word, I think, because you write a movie, you make a movie, you direct a movie, you spill your guts out onto the screen, and it's a very vulnerable experience because it's a very sensitive thing that you're doing because you're sharing a part of yourself with every production and with every story. There's a part of you that you're putting out there, and it's really important when people watch a movie. I think they have to understand that it's a very selfless act. You have to put your ego aside, and you have to do what's best for the production. And I love that you're doing it for all the right reasons. It's not about commercialism. It's, of course, that always helps, but it's always about making great art, and that's what you're doing.
Well, thank you. I think that's what you aspire to tell the story and have people respond to it.
Absolutely, and it seems like they're responding well. By the way, I like to remind everybody whenever I have these interviews, those that are watching, very important that you leave reviews. When you watch these movies, please leave reviews because it's important. It helps independent filmmakers, helps everybody, but especially people that are putting out work like this, works of art. It's our job to make sure we leave reviews and do our part.
Absolutely. And you can rate it when you watch it. And you can go on IMDb and on Rotten Tomatoes and say a few words. That's very helpful. You're absolutely right.
Well, Michelle, I can't wait to see what else is cooking in that kitchen. And I love everything that you do. You're such a pleasant person to speak to, and you're just a wonderful artist. And I'm so delighted to have you back on. Again, where could they find you? I'm sure we can find you on Instagram and social media. We'll make sure we'll have links in the description. But any websites?
Well, yes. I mean, we're on Instagram, The Italians, the movie, Michelle Danner, LA. We're on TikTok, same thing. And the website to go on would be All in Films, which is the studio that we have that makes movies.
And of course, you also teach. So if you're
I
out there
am
and you want to learn something,
acting teacher, and I have two schools, the Michelle Danner Acting Studio, the Los Angeles Acting Conservatory. Every time I go and teach a class, I'm reminded that it's so important to pass it down. And not only that, but I have a faculty of extraordinary teachers. And when you drive, there's a mural that says you cannot, on the school, you can't make art without heart, and you cannot spell heart without art. And people, this very much embodies the philosophy of the acting schools. I met collaborators of mine that I've collaborated with now for decades on end in an acting class. Acting classes bring community together. You get to see other people work. You go to the acting gym. So I love teaching. and I love actors.
And the benefit, of course, not only do you learn how to act, but you're in that environment. You're building a community, you're making contacts, you're networking, and it's just a win. So I highly encourage everyone to consider joining that school. Michelle, I'm not going to keep any longer because I know you're a busy woman, but you've delighted us again with your presence. I love all your projects. I can't wait to continue to support you and everything you're doing. And any last words for people that are aspiring actors or filmmakers out there?
Study. I mean, that's what I'm doing. I am a student of cinema, a student of theater, a student of acting. I see myself as being a student. Of course, in turn, I teach as well, but I'm constantly learning every single day. Um, and it's very rewarding. It really rewards you and it connects you to your soul on a daily basis.
Very well said. And with that, I'll remind everybody, please make sure that you follow Michelle. There'll be links in the description box where you can follow her and all her great movies. Support. If you haven't already, please subscribe to me, Vinny Presents. And until next time, and I can't wait for the next time, our guest has been Michelle Danner. Michelle, thanks again.
Thank you.